Hi, this is Shell of Shell's Creations. Today I want to share some tips with you for spicing up your titles. These are for titles that are alphas, and I have a few things that can kind of make them a lot more fun. Okay, you'll notice that I have the letters ready to go. We can line them up so that they are even across the bottom, and we can space them out, or we can kind of do some fun things. And the first thing we're going to do is adjusting up and down. So the first tip I have for spicing up your layouts is adjusting the letters in the alpha up and down. We'll slide them up, slide the next one down. It's kind of random, and you'll find as you're working on it that you'll play with some different things and decide what you like. So you can see how they kind of bounce up and down. That's the first tip, moving your alphas up and down. The second tip is moving the alphas left and right. I like them snugged up next to each other, and so I'm going to slide them in next to each other. You make sure that you have that auto select box checked up in the corner so that when you click on a letter, that is the layer that becomes active. It's a lot quicker that way to make sure what you're working on. Now you have to be careful when you're working with thin letters like an L or a U that you don't cover up too much of it. Because they're so skinny, they're a little difficult. And so what I usually do with an I and an L is I can overlap on one side, but I don't overlap on the other. Now let's slide these in, the M in a little, and we'll snug the U in a little. One of the things that is really helpful is to add your shadow style at this point so that you can see what it's going to look like. Okay, yeah, there we go. Now we have our shadows. Okay, see, I can tell with the shadows that I can move that U a little bit closer, and that's still going to work. Now I want to snug the top, the word "the" in here. Okay, right there. I like that overlap on the T. I can still tell it's a T. But it kind of snugs it in and makes it a little more fun. Another thing that we can do is change the size of the letters. That's the third tip, changing the size of the letters. That one is much more effective on letters that are more formal looking and just adds a real whimsical look to it. You can, adjust this letter a little bit bigger, this letter a little bit smaller, not too much, but that's another way that you can add a whimsical look to it. When I'm working with a doodled alpha, I sometimes don't do that because it tends to make it just a little bit too much. Okay, I'm going to move all of these letters over. That blue line that you see on the edge there is the crease down the middle of my two-page layout, and I don't want my title to be stuck in the fold. And so I'll put these splashes in. Let's see, that one needs to be twisted just a little bit. Move it, rotate it a smidgen. Okay, and there you have it. There are some fun tips for spicing up your titles. Remember, the tips are move the letters up and down so that they are not aligned, and moving the letters, snugging them in, moving them left and right, snugging them up, and also you can change the size of some of the letters. I hope that gives you some ideas of ways that you can spice up your titles.